Hello there, my very good friends. Andy Murray here for What Culture Wrestling, and as the dust settles on WrestleMania 40, an event that WWE is already calling the biggest and best ever, I thought it would be an appropriate time to take a look at some of the records that have been sent around this event, and just a bunch of firsts and cool new things established in the aftermath and during the show. So with that in mind, we're going to kick things off with number 12, that being WWE's New Era. Night one was kicked off by Triple H in the ring, doing his whole "Are you ready?" spiel, and Stephanie McMahon, making a surprise appearance, uttered very similar things on night two. The messaging was very simple. The bad man is gone. Vince McMahon is out of here. This is our show now. We're running it the way we want. And, Stephanie called WrestleMania the first WrestleMania of the Paul Levesque era. It kind of booked last year's as well, but whatever the case, this new era, this Renaissance era, the terminology has been everywhere. Not just on WWE programming, it's been used online, in the media, it's all over the shop. Clearly, WWE sees this as something of a starting point for this fresh run of form. You can also look at it cynically and go, hey, it's not even that cynical, to be honest. They're just trying to maybe bury some of that negative Vince McMahon press over here. And yeah, they probably are, to be fair. But either way, the new era is a thing, the Renaissance era, whatever the heck you want to call it. And it started technically at WrestleMania 40, which was also the host of the first WrestleMania victory for R-Truth. Obviously, the Awesome Truth became Raw Tag Team Champions in that Night 1 massive ladder scramble match. And yeah, it was actually the first time that R-Truth was won at WrestleMania, despite seemingly being in WWE since bloomin' Bruno Sammartino was running around. Up until this past weekend, Truth was 0-6 at WrestleMania. Now, granted, all of those were crazy multi-man matches or battle royals, but it's still a pretty impressive achievement for a guy who's been trying for so long to get that first WrestleMania W. It's very fitting, given how over these guys are at the moment, that they picked up the win there, and it will ultimately go down as a booking triumph for Triple H, because like 6 months ago, if you'd said R-Truth will win a championship at WrestleMania, a lot of people would have been like, what are you talking about? But it happened. It felt like the right thing to do in the building at the time, and it got a huge pop. He wasn't the only person getting the spotlight at WrestleMania, though. One of them, coming in at number 10, was Seth Rollins, finally getting a true main event spotlight for the first time in WWE. Night 1 was actually this man's first proper main event in WWE at WrestleMania. I guess technically you could say the cash-in match where he won and Brock and Roman and all of that stuff, but he wasn't on the billing. Here he was. It was Seth the Chef and Cody Rhodes versus The Rock and Roman Reigns on night 1. A proper spotlight, a proper feather in his cap, and then he kind of had another one on night 2, because even though he lost to Drew McIntyre, he partook in a perfect opening sequence. A great match with Drew, the cash-in, all of that stuff. And yeah, he kind of looked a bit silly in the night 2 main event, but that was by design, and it will lead to something even bigger later down the line. So hats off to Seth. Not only did he have an incredible ring entrance on night 2 with the mummers, I'm still not terribly sure what they are, but they looked and sounded really cool. At number 9, Roman Reigns sets a new bar. Look at that man. He's just sensational. All that stuff in the build-up to WrestleMania 40 about breaking Hogan's record, that was nonsense. Hulk Hogan doesn't have the longest world title reign. Bruno Sammartino and Bob Backlund are ahead of him, and Roman probably wasn't going to be champion for 2,000 plus days. But one record that Roman did set at the event hadn't been broken in 31 years. I read it online, it must be correct. Because Roman Reigns main evented, headlined both nights of WrestleMania, he eclipsed Hulk Hogan's previous record in this sense. Hogan headlined 8 WrestleManias, doing both nights. Roman headlined 9. That's pretty damn impressive, particularly because unless he just magically retires now, Roman is definitely going to outdo that at some point. This wasn't his last WrestleMania main event, and particularly in this modern era where it's a 2-night show, there's plenty of scope for him to do so. So congratulations to Roman Reigns, the most WrestleMania main events of anyone ever. And number 8, the big repeat. Now, Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns wasn't the only time we've seen WWE repeat a WrestleMania main event. Of course, Steve Austin and The Rock. They've been around the block a few times. We also have The Rock versus John Cena twice in a lifetime. But this was the first time the main event has been identical for the same championship under very similar circumstances 2 nights, 2 years in a row, I should say. Last year, it was Cody versus Roman for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship, and this year, it was Cody versus Roman for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. Total mirror stuff over here. And again, it's one of these records that you may never see broken again. It'd be quite hard for them to repeat this unless they do the same match next year, in which case, hey, look, they've got awesome chemistry. Why the heck not? I'm sure there are other ideas on the table as well, but that's another genuine record for Roman and a pretty cool one for Cody as well. Finally, finishing the story. All right, number 7, groundbreaking woman. Here on night 1, we got Becky Lynch versus Rhea Ripley, opening the show for the very first time in WWE history at Mania. Slight caveat, in front of fans. Both of WrestleMania 36, night 1 and night 2, they were opened by women's matches, but there's no bloomin' fans there, so we're not counting those. But this was the first time the women had truly opened Mania, Becky versus Rhea, with Rhea retaining. This is an honor in itself. When you open WrestleMania, you set the tone. You are tasked with grabbing the crowd's attention immediately, giving them something exciting, something emotional, something that hooks them and tells them, hey, this is going to be a bloody good show. With Rhea and Becky here, it was made all the more impressive when you consider that Becky was sick heading into the event. She had a high temperature, she had flu-like symptoms, strep throat, all of that stuff. Hats off to them. That's a nice little record across the board. At number 6, the new streak. So obviously the dead man, The Undertaker, his streak is long gone. He won't be digging any more holes or taking any more souls, and he lost to Brock Lesnar anyway, so it wouldn't really matter. But a new WrestleMania streak is quietly underway, and granted it's not as grandiose as 20 plus, but Bianca Belair over here is putting one together. She is now 4-0 at WrestleMania after her, Jade Cargill and Naomi beat Damage Control in just a really fun trios match. Her previous opponents at WrestleMania for Bianca include Asuka. I almost called her Biasca Belair, that's not right. Asuka, Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks, now 4-0. So how far can this streak go? Is the interesting question to ask. We'll certainly see, but it's off to a great start, and Bianca's one of the best stadium wrestlers in the entire company. Shout outs to her. Number 5, the ring general gets outmaneuvered. At WrestleMania 40, we saw the end of a record-breaking Intercontinental title reign. 666 days, the calendar of the beast. That's what Gunther finished his reign on as IC champion, dropping the belt to Sami Zayn. It was a hell of a match and a hell of a way for that run to come to an end. The greatest IC title reign of all time, if you ask me, and if you ask probably most people on the planet. Excellent stuff from Gunther across the board. Really excited for what's next for him. And what's next for Sami is Chad Gable on this week's episode of Raw. At number 4, Roman's reign ends. This is another crazy long title run. The longest in a long time in WWE, as Roman Reigns lost just everything title-wise after a reign on top of 1,316 days. That is completely absurd. This is unprecedented in modern times. It is WWE's longest title reign in 36 years. Previously, decades ago even, I would look at Hulk Hogan and Bob Backlund and Bruno Sammartino on those lists of all-time title reigns and go, wow, we will never see anything of that like again. Well, Roman came mighty close to cracking the top 3 here. And on top of that, he also notched the most successful title defenses on a pay-per-view or PLE ever at 24. That's the most of the top championship on a PLE. Cody Rhodes is probably going to be a bit of a workhorse champion compared to Roman. By that I mean he will probably keep a bit of a busier schedule. You'll see him defend the title more. But if he wants to meet that record, if he wants to match it, he'll bloomin' near have to defend the title on every pay-per-view and not miss a single one for 2 years straight. So good luck to him for that. Okay, at number 3, we've got the most title changes in WWE WrestleMania history. A total of 7 belts changed hands at Mania, and that's never happened before. The new champions were Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, The Awesome Truth, Sami Zayn, Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest, Bayley, and Cody Rhodes. The previous record was 5 title changes at WrestleMania 34, 35, and 37. So we've beaten that by 2 here. Only Rhea Ripley and Logan Paul were able to successfully defend their belts at Mania 40, and they can probably count themselves pretty lucky for that. At number 2, Big Money Mania. Man, the amount of just crazy business metrics coming out of this show, I'll just read some of them to you here. So across both nights of WrestleMania, according to WWE, which means pinch of salt because it's wrestling and companies drum up their attendance figures all the time, a total of 145,298 people attended across both nights of Mania. That number goes beyond 200,000 when you include SmackDown, Raw, and NXT as well. It's crazy, absolutely mental. Viewership was up 40% for Saturday and 41% for Sunday, and then they beat the previous gate record. This was set at WrestleMania 39, and they smashed it by 78%, meaning that a gate of around, or probably even more than this, $35 million was generated by WWE on these nights across these events. You don't have to like the product, but when it comes to making money and just being really successful, this truly is a golden era for the sports entertainment. They don't say that anymore. For the wrestling market leader. And at number 1 on our list, Codys' crazy merch sales. Cody Rhodes across WrestleMania set a record for the most individual merch sales for one superstar wrestler. Whatever. $1 million. Over $1 million in money was spent on Cody merch during the weekend at live events, which cements him as a major draw, a major moneymaker, and a huge asset to this company. If there's any doubt in your mind that Cody is a business needle moving guy, it should be gone right now, because over $1 million in merch sales is absolutely out of this world. So hats off to him. He's the new champion. And he's a big time guy who sells loads of t-shirts, I guess. But hey, thanks for joining me for this video. If you enjoyed this, check out this 40 fascinating facts from every WrestleMania, including 40, which just happened this weekend and was a great time across the board. Bye-bye.